we share an experience with the same person, Dustin Hoffman. We both were accusers of him for sexual harassment from our experiences working with him. And that's how we met.
Well, we actually
met working with him and didn't know that we were having experiences with him, and met all these years later. Well, I knew I was being harassed while I was working with him, but there was nothing I could do about it. I didn't know who else was going through that because no one talked about it. And we didn't share it until about a year ago.
So what kind of support system was she to you during that process?
Well, actually, we didn't meet. I mean, my story came out a year ago today, and Kathy and I didn't talk until December 7th, the night before
my story
your
came out
story
December 8th.
So Kathy, I didn't know Kathy when I was going through this process, but I would say that when I was 17, I didn't realize that what was happening to me was harassment. And it wasn't until, I mean, what happened to me was in 1985. It wasn't until Anita Hill testified that I realized there was a name for what had happened to me, and it was sexual harassment. And he had power over me, and I was doing this as a high school intern, and I thought if I'd been fired, I wouldn't have graduated from high school on time, and I wouldn't have gone to college on time, but I just didn't have the words. So it was definitely delayed under a full understanding of what had happened to me, and I would say that that understanding has continued to develop and deepen in the past year, because even when I wrote the story a year ago, I didn't know what he had been doing to other women around the same time, like Kathy, and I have heard horrific stories since then, and to feel like I got off really lightly, well, really awful things were happening to other women around the same time has been a lot. It's been hard to process.
I mean, I knew what he was doing was harassment and wrong. It was every night backstage in the theater.
And I couldn't say, Kathy, that what you went through was assault. It is beyond harassment. What he did to you was sexual assault. Well, even if we didn't call it that back then.
We didn't call it anything because we weren't allowed to talk about it, because I would have totally lost my job, and that's what everyone told me. So you put it away. You put it in like a little pocket somewhere, and you go on with your life, but your life has changed, and you act out in ways you don't even understand. And so when all this started happening, I went through lots of processes. Should I do this? Should I not do this? Blah, 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 blah. And it ultimately came to taking ownership of my entire life and telling the truth. Telling the truth about what happened. Nothing was going to change after all these years, but it was just taking agency over my own life, and then maybe helping other people and meeting people like Anna, and finally telling my 92-year-old father.
What was that like?
Awful. I became the young girl again, crying on the phone with him, and you know, he's 92. He's got a lot of things going on, but he's very sharp, and he said, "I wish you had told me." My mother told me not to, and he said, "I wish you had told me." And then he said, the one thing he said to me, he said, "Now you don't have to lie anymore."
For the little girls who are maybe trying to identify what's happening to them, or for the little girls trying to tell their father, trying to get that support, what advice do you have for them to start that first step?
I would say,
I still love men.
Listen to your instincts and listen to your gut. And if it feels creepy or uncomfortable or wrong, it is all of those things. And
that's not what we're saying. What we are saying is that
and tell someone you trust the truth.
See us as equals.
They will probably respond in a more supportive way than you expect, but just listen to your gut. Like
men don't need to behave like women. But
we don't need to spend our lives laughing off what happens to us, because it can affect the trajectory of our entire lives. So pay attention to your gut early. Yeah.
Yeah, just keep looking for someone to believe you, to trust enough to believe you. And if you're young and you don't have the words, try and say what you can say, and someone will help you.
Yeah.
And the sooner you can speak about it, the sooner you can heal.
Words of affirmation to lift yourself up. What would those 2 words be?
My whole life, well, I've always said never give up, whatever that means. Don't give up on yourself.
Don't be afraid. People will catch you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Can you state your name for the editor, please?
I'm Anna Graham Hunter.
And I'm Kathryn Rossetter.
Thank you so much, ladies. I really appreciate it. Brought me tears.
Yeah, thank you.
My God.
I know my night is made.
You're a great interview. I'm done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.